Rebel religion and the news.
The wisdom of Scottie Scheffler, a 29-year-old golfer. We're going to talk about that today on Rebel Religion in the News. Good morning, Jerry O'Lennon, along with Alfredo Romero, my co-host and pastor of Rock of Life Fellowship, and our guest on Mondays and Tuesdays, Pastor Tim Rule of Pleasant Valley Baptist Church. Did you watch any of the golf tournament?
I did not. I traveled last week, got back into town, had 1,000 things to catch up on, so I did not get to see it.
I saw the ESPN's recap, so yeah.
Well, the story really is not so much about his golf game, which is spectacular, but it's about what he said before the golf tournament, before he'd actually won. And he said he spent his entire life trying to become the best golfer in the world, which he's done. He's racked up major championship victories. However, he said, when he wins, and it happens a lot, the feeling of fulfillment is fleeting. Quoting now, there's a lot of people that make it to what they thought was going to fulfill them in life, and you get there, you get to number one in the world, and they're like, what's the point? I believe that, because what is the point? Why do I want to win this tournament so badly? That's because that's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. Finally, he said, golf is one of the greatest joys of my life, but does it fill the deepest wants and desires of my heart? Absolutely not.
That's really wise.
And after the victory, which was he was just amazing watching some of this golf. He was just on spot the entire way. And he said afterwards, I'll be happy. You know, I'm happy,
sure,
but it'll last for about 2 minutes.
Sure.
And then, and you know, there is definitely a lesson there for our youth, and really for all of us.
Sure. No, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But the joy is in the journey, and not just the ending, because once the ending happens, it's done.
Yeah.
And you're done. And so you have to look for the next one. And so I definitely believe that joy of, like a golfer, let's say, or any athlete working out, striving, because you want to better yourself. You want to better yourself. Just because you beat someone else, well, they may not be as good as you are. So it's like in this whole, I'm not trying to bring this up, the transgender thing. Okay, I'm a guy, but I beat a girl. Well, big deal. To beat someone else, but knowing you didn't play your best game, there's not a lot of fulfillment there. So the joy is in the journey. Now, I'll add one more thing. College football, and I know that's here and there a lot of years ago, but for every hour I spent on the field playing the game, I spent 20 hours in practice or film booths or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the majority of all football playing is not on that field on a Sunday.
Right.
It's all that work, and that's where you achieve. That's where you get better.
Yeah.
That's where the joy is. It's the weight room. It's the running the stadium steps. It's all of that. That's where you get your adrenaline. And then when the game is played and you win, it's like, okay, well, we did it. Now what's next? So
right. Well, I think, too, and I think the lesson that is here is kind of prioritizing what's important. One of the most endearing moments of the golf tournament was afterwards when his 1-year-old infant son tried to run up the slope of the green to go greet his father. The toddler was just 1 year old, so he's just barely learning, and he kept falling, and it was so sweet. And then, of course, the golfer, his father came, and Scheffler came and picked him up and carried him to the trophy and shared the moment with him. And it was very endearing and very touching. And but, you know, sometimes it makes there's a fine line between trying to achieve something and thinking that achievement is therefore going to give you something meaningful in life. I mean, happiness comes and happiness goes, and it is fleeting. And I don't know if Christians have really learned that lesson.
Well, let me give you some context. Scottie Scheffler is a devout Christian and frequently speaks about his faith, particularly his belief in Jesus Christ. His emphasis that his faith is central to his life and defines him more than his achievements in golf. Now, him saying that, right away when I heard this story, I thought about Matthew 16:26, also Mark 8:36. And basically what it says is, you know, what does it profit a man who would gain the world but lose his soul? Mm-hmm. And it sounds like Scottie Scheffler is referring to that.
Right.
This is just a worldly achievement that means nothing to my eternal life with Christ.
it's a game. Mm-hmm. I mean, bottom line, it's just a game. You know, you're hitting the ball around the green, and it's a game. And we made it big. They paid a lot of money, and you can look at all sides of this. I mean, I'm glad to hear the man's a Christian, he has a faith and things like that. I'm glad he's got his priorities straight. It sounds like the marries, the family and all. He goes to work every day and he does this and he makes a few bucks. I guarantee he was happy when he won. I guarantee
sure.
he was happy when he made the money.
And you know what? If he had lost, I think he'd be just as fulfilled.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No, maybe not as fulfilled.
Yeah, not
but,
quite as fulfilled, right.
but I mean,
Some people say, well, after they lose a championship, well, it was just an honor to be able to be in this position. They obviously don't mean that.
Right, they want to win, yeah.
But I could believe that someone like Scottie would be able to go, yeah, it's a game. I lost, but there'll be other tournaments in the future I'll win. And I've won other things before. I could see him sincerely meaning that.
Yeah, just as much as he said within a few minutes it was fleeing, I guarantee with the loss, a few minutes, bummer, but it'd be fleeing also. I think he has a good head on his shoulders. Right. There is a Bible verse that says, the desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, all right? We like when we accomplish something. We like checking that little swoosh off. We all like that. Mm-hmm. And so there is some joy there to be able to win the British Open or the Masters or the U.S. Open, whatever. There is some joy there, but it's not your life. It doesn't define you. Does it feel good? Sure it does. But then it's over.
Well, here's the downside to maybe getting overdoing this, because it could lead people to go, well, Scottie Scheffler says it's not that important to be successful in life, so, why try? I'm just going to sit on, mom and dad's couch and just kick back and take it easy and not really do anything. Because,
too late.
What difference does it make? It's only going to fulfill me for a couple of minutes, so why do I care? That's the opposite side of the same coin.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, maybe. But if you look at the context, the whole thing, what Scottie's saying, you have to know his faith. You have to know what he said before about the most important thing is his relationship with Christ. So in that perspective, yeah, it's great to win here.
Sure.
But he's got the right perspective of Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these things will be added to you. So not to worry about. I totally respect him because I think we need more voices in sports like that, rather than the voices we've been getting in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And I was going to say, the other thing is, as long as they don't cut him off during the interviews.
Yeah, that's it.
They have got to have it. As soon as they go, I just want to thank we've had some technical problems. We've lost the feed.
Well, there's some people. Here's a quote from somebody who says, dude, I thought I would love this forever, and I don't know why. And then what happens behind it is there's what psychologists say, at least in this article in The Athletic, an intelligence curve that increases through your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, which they call your crystallized intelligence, which is based on pattern recognition and teaching, etc. You don't need what made you good at what you do in your 20s and 30s. And if you can figure out a way to transform yourself from a fluid, and I don't know what all this means, intelligent super striver into a crystallized intelligence leader, that's where bliss comes in. Basically what they're saying is get perspective in your life and you'll be much happier.
Yeah, just to paraphrase that a bit more, it sounds like what your values were, what your desires were in your 20s and 30s are not going to be the same desires and goals when you're 40, 50, 60. It completely changes. And mine has.
Well, let me ask you, Pastor Tim Rule of Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, I get the feeling you were kind of a Scottie Scheffler type when you were 29 years old. Well, of course, I know you're only 39, but 10 years ago.
There you go.
Honestly, I get the feeling that based on, as I've known you for years, that you were probably you had your head screwed on straight at an early age. I get that feeling.
Well, I had a good education of the hard knocks, not schooling education, but the hard knocks, which made you really realize, happiness and joy would be like a mom and dad being at home and having a house and things like that. Not some trophy you sit out for a little bit and you put away. Yeah. So when you don't have certain things, then you see the goodness of that, like a real dad, a real mom, a home, going to church, having a real God, all those things. I don't know how, as you say, wise or maybe thoughtful, but I did realize that football didn't define me. Let me go to the other side just a minute. Jim Kelly.
Quarterback for the Bills.
Charles Barkley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never won a championship.
No, they didn't.
But you know something? They are phenomenal players. Mm-hmm. So you're going to let maybe one ring or one title define your, 20 years of work and desire? can't do that. I mean, we are who we are.
Another one I have to mention, one of my favorite players was Ernie Banks with the
Yep.
Cubs. Never won a World Series. I never even played in an NL championship game,
Yep.
any playoff game ever. But you know what the headline was in the Chicago Tribune on the day he died? Ode to Joy.
Yep. There you
Because
go.
he was a joyful man his entire career, and it exuded from him, and everybody recognized it. I want to be around Ernie Banks.
Oh, you can go on and on. Elgin Baylor.
Yep.
For the Lakers, he retired the year they won the championship.
Yeah.
And the whole time, and then there's Fran Tarkington, the quarterback for the
Minnesota
Vikings. He lost 4. Kelly lost 4. And you can go on and on. And I you know what I saw one time? This billboard. It had a picture of Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, 16th president. And it said, nothing beyond a fifth grade education, lost his first
Yep.
legislative run.
List all of his defeats.
All these
lost this,
defeats,
lost this, lost this.
lost. And they did the same thing with Michael Jordan. Then I saw a Michael Jordan one, and it said, kicked off his basketball team in the 9th grade, and all these things. And I'm going, like we said a while ago, do you know the journey it takes to
Yes.
reach? All these guys went through a journey of knockdown, 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 knockdown. Finally, they learned enough wisdom and stuff to be able to get to that pinnacle that they wanted.
Yep.
Well, but Scottie Scheffler, on the other hand, is going, okay, I got there, but there's other things more important to me.
Yep.
He's not saying, this is the accumulation of my life, I'm done. So it's a Christian perspective I think everybody should have, obviously. Amen.
Just to be a little spiritual here, if you want, it is true that happiness comes from a happening. I ride a roller coaster, I'm happy. I had a nice meal, I'm happy. While joy comes from within. Happiness comes from the out, and you have that fleeting moment. It's joy, it's happiness. But joy comes from then. I know who I am. I know God. I have family, and you have that all the time then. So too many people place their life on happiness, while real joy is from the inside, and no one can take that away.
I always tell my kids, don't seek a happy life. Seek a life that is filled with meaning.
Yeah,
And that
there you
usually
go.
comes from God, always comes from God and your family. I think the music's going to pop up, and it is. We're going to talk about that CEO who got caught on the Kiss camera at the what's Coldplay concert.
Coldplay concert.
The eyes are always on you. And we're not talking just the eyes of God. The eyes everywhere are on you. We're going to be right back and we'll talk about this guy when we come back.
Religion in the news. Religion in the news.
Yes.
All right, welcome back. This was kind of interesting what happened with this CEO at, was it Coldplay?
Coldplay, yeah,
Coldplay
Coldplay.
concert. And I want to make sure I get this guy's name correct. Oh, shoot, I don't have it. Here we go. Andy Byron, the chief executive of the New York-based tech company Astronomer. We've all seen it. I know I'm repeating too much of it. It said he resigned from his role. He was spotted embracing an employee, the human resources director, at a Coldplay concert.
This is not good.
Astronomer's board of directors accepted his resignation and will begin searching for the next CEO. We all have seen it. Well, the lesson is obvious. I don't know if there's a lot to talk about here. From a Christianity standpoint, is you're not supposed to be fooling around with somebody who is not your wife or who is not your husband. And to do it in a public forum is not only wrong morally, it's stupid. And so the guy should be fired for moral reasons, but for being a complete moron. I mean, this has got to be the stupidest thing that any CEO has ever done in the history of the business community.
Okay, yes.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't think there's
Jerry,
anybody in the world
what's your
that.
opinion, Jerry? I need to know.
Well, I mean,
Can you
seriously,
clarify that a little bit? But I didn't quite understand
how
that.
dumb can two people be? The human resources director and the CEO of a company out in public.
Yeah.
Forget that there's a camera that could be on you, because everybody on the planet has a camera. And to be seen canoodling with, in public.
I've never heard that.
Canoodling is just getting all lovey-dovey is just incredibly foolish.
Yeah, so Chris Martin, the lead singer, basically, when they kind of, the camera was on them for a second, and then they look at it, and they're, we're on camera, and the girl covers her eyes, the guy ducks. Chris Martin nailed it right away. He said, either they're not supposed to be here or they're having an affair. He nailed it. So
It was pretty obvious.
It
I mean,
was
something
obvious.
was there.
You know, but here's the thing. I was watching a TV show, and Greg Gutfeld said, his nighttime show, he said, if they just would have kissed like nothing, we never would have heard about this.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
This wasn't on TV. This was just an in-camera kiss cam, an in-concert kiss cam. If they just would have, quick kiss, they would have moved on. This never would have happened. But what a lesson that nobody gets away with anything. And if you get away with something on this earth, I got something to tell you. You're not going to get away with it in God's eyes. So
that is what is so interesting. That was the first thing I thought about is people don't get away with anything here on earth anymore because it's everybody's videotaped. You wonder how somebody catches somebody who travels from one place because there's cameras everywhere in every business, in people's homes. There's no way anybody. But now, the eyes of God are on each of us every moment of the day.
Absolutely.
And so think about that. That's what I thought about. I thought, boy, if people could see me the way I am at times and the mistakes I've done, just the other day I was upset because some car cut me off and I was like really angry and I used an expletive and I said, I'm sure glad that kiss cam wasn't on me then because that would be the cuss cam.
Yeah. But the ultimate cam is on you.
But let's talk about for a second. I think it's important for us to go through. Is it important for us to go through our lives remembering that the eyes of God are constantly on us?
Yes.
It is.
That's big time. Numbers chapter 32 says, be sure your sin will find you out. Mm-hmm. Those are 8 amazing words. Be sure. Bottom line, be sure your sin, what you do, will find you out. No doubt about it. And the thing I really think about is the 2 elements concerned is, number one, God. Because God is the ultimate judge. And God does not miss a thing. In fact, not only what he sees, but what he hears, but what he knows in our mind. He knows our thoughts.
Yeah.
Number 2 element is us. And so I don't care if the whole world saw them ducking down or kissing, whatever. Inside their heart, they know that they were doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And God knew it. So are they feeling bad because they were doing something wrong? Or are they feeling bad because they got caught doing something wrong? That really comes down to an element.
I kind of think it's both. I think,
Well,
right?
sure
I think it is. I think the shame, and because, I think you were telling me, Pastor Alfredo, that there's a lot of mocking going on where people are kind of, I think that you were saying Philly Fanatic and the Philadelphia Phillies mascot was pretending to be having,
Canoodling, is that what you call it?
Canoodling.
I got a new word.
well, see, the funny thing is, anytime something like this happens, people are going to mock it. So baseball, I'm telling you, I must have seen 10 of them the other night where they're mocking that moment where they hid. So the Philadelphia Phillies, the Philly Fanatic, they were doing the kiss cam. Also, they put it on him, and he's canoodling with another mascot that had this gray hair, kind of kind of redoing the whole thing. And when the camera went on him, the girl fanatic covers her eyes, and the Philly Fanatic ducks. And then there was another ballpark where their mascot was canoodling a woman wearing a T-shirt from the opposing team.
Right.
And they go on and on.
It's going to last a while.
This guy's not going to live this down.
But I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm too soft. And that could be. I feel bad for him and both of them because the punishment, well, I don't, is the punishment worse? Well, we don't know. We're assuming that they were doing more than just canoodling, by the way, means kissing and hugging, nothing more than that. I looked it up, and it's a nice word to use. It's a nice way of saying they were just kissing and hugging, and okay, that's okay. It's not okay, but that's especially if you're married. But they weren't, But we don't know anything else that was happening in their relationship. But I think just the embarrassment of what he has to go through is greater than losing his job because where does his future go from here? It's got to be very difficult. How does somebody recover from such of a self-inflicted wound?
Okay, so the very first thing is just hearing you talk about maybe I have a softness in my heart and he got caught. I just think about his wife sitting at home
I know he
watching
deserves
that up
it.
there,
Yeah.
his kids going, "That's my dad," and I have no
Yeah.
idea the relationship. But sometimes I don't feel that there is a recompense that, wow, this guy just blew off his whole wife, his home, his morals, his ethics, his job, and same with the lady. I guess they were both married, and so I think on the other side, because I know we have a culture right now saying, I know he murdered 17 people, but
Yeah.
he's not that
Yeah.
bad of a guy, so let's let him go. No, because then someone else will go and do that stuff. So there's got to be that, hey, you got your medicine, so take your medicine. And you can say I'm a hard-nosed old guy.
No,
but I'll tell
you're
you what,
right. You're right.
Our society's gone slick down to hell because we let them do it. It's okay. So someone needs to say, you know something, bud, you got what you got coming.
So exposing this kind of thing is a lesson for others who want to consider doing the same thing.
Yeah, you
really,
better believe it.
really is, because the eyes, not just the eyes of God are on us at all times. The eyes of human beings are on us every moment of the day. I mean, these little cell phones here, everybody has a camera. They could film you doing anything. If you're I remember, and people kind of, we all have moments where we do things where, like, we're not talking about an affair, but, where maybe we get upset because somebody cuts us off or the line is long at the bank and you're like, oh, and you're rolling your eyes. You're like, come on, what is going on up there at the teller? Let's go. Let's get
First
this
world
thing
problems.
going. Yes, but if somebody's recording that,
Yep.
you don't want to. So, but we are constantly being watched.
Always. I'm always amazed when they look like. I remember recently there was a young man that had disappeared, like a 20-year-old man, a 21-year-old man who was out for a walk, went to a club, and for some reason he just disappeared. And they came up with how we ended up, because there was a camera in front of this club, and then as he crossed the street, they picked up another camera from another building, and then he made a right turn, and another camera in another building picked it up. And they followed him all the way to the point where I believe they found out that he had somehow was maybe possibly inebriated, possibly, and had drowned, fell into a little lake, a little puddle of water, and drowned. And so, but they followed him.
Sure,
These cameras
sure.
were switching, and there are cameras everywhere now. There was a fake kidnapping recently that was trying
Yeah.
to, they were trying, and they saw the camera, and the camera was following this person, and they found out it was a big hoax.
Yep.
It was fake. I mean, cameras, man, forget it. They're everywhere.
It wouldn't be a show if I didn't make a movie reference. It reminds me of the movie, it's a Woody Allen movie, Crimes and Misdemeanors. A doctor has an affair. The woman who he's having an affair with is going to blow the lid off it. So he has his brother, who has gang ties, murder the woman. And suddenly he starts having great regrets about what he's done, and his conscience gets to him. And the whole thing is, the eyes of God are on you. Are the eyes of God on you? And he can't live with himself. And eventually, I won't ruin the plot. Can he continue to live with the knowledge that he took someone's human life for his own selfish reasons? It's a great film, a great moral tale. But that's one of the things I thought about immediately. The eyes of God are on us at all times.
Let me give you a Bible.
Doesn't miss a thing.
Yeah, let me give you a Bible verse. Luke 8:17. For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known and brought out into the open.
Yep. We want to end on some good news. The good news is when you do something good, God's eyes are on you then too.
No doubt about it.
And
No doubt about it.
that's when he's proud of us.
Yep. For whoso giveth a cup of cold water to the least of these shall no wise lose his reward. And for everyone out there, I mean, I always try to bring some type of a God situation in this thing, but God will forgive. And for the two elements, you and God, you might have blown it in public and everybody knows it, but to go to God and say, I blew it, I'm sorry, then God will say, you know something, we're good. We're good. And God go on with it. And we need to know that.
Let's pray for these people anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, they need repentance.
Okay. Pastor Tim Rule of Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock service times. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about hell. Questions that you may wonder about. Does it really exist? What is it like? Who belongs there? Who doesn't go there? Talk about that tomorrow on Rebel Religion in the News. Thanks so much, everybody.